Well, I cannot believe it's been 5 years since the last time the boys got together and had a proper week-long social. That video obviously was the Red Mill 2017 video. Granted, there was a 2-year pandemic which halted social events, which I don't need to go into too much detail about. You've heard it 1,000 times, and you was probably a part of it. So you don't need obviously to go into much detail. Here we are, it's been 5 long years now, and we are back finally with another week-long session. Autumn is well and truly underway now, and you join us in the most idyllic 300-year-old estate lake surrounded in the most iconic wildlife in the form of stags, kingfishers, you name it, this place has got it, and it is absolutely stunning. I'll talk a little bit more in detail about the venue that we're fishing this particular week in more detail as usual in these sort of, week-long sessions that we do, or these special episodes. But for now, what I want to do is I want to try and bring you up to speed with exactly where we are right now. So pretty customary to any week-long session that you book, you usually turn up on the Saturday, and unfortunately for us, we couldn't actually get access to the lake until 2 o'clock. So obviously when we arrived at 2 o'clock, we'd seen nothing about the lake. There's not a lot of information online. None of us had ever seen or heard about the lake really, so there wasn't anything online in terms of swims or, we'd never seen it before. So obviously what we did is we did the customary walk round. So obviously the 5 of us, I think we did probably 2 or 3 laps, and then obviously the customary draw as well for the week. So with the draw out the way, one of the things that obviously I will mention at this point is that all of the swims on this venue are actually double swims. So myself and Matty have landed very fortunately on the same swim. And obviously with the race against the light, with the time of year that we've got, we both decided that we would fish together or in conjunction with each other rather than sort of, not against each other as such, but we thought we'd sort of fish more as a team. So we both decided together that last night it was quite dark, we were losing the light, so we decided not to get the rods out. So we got the house up, we knocked up a couple of bait mixes. We kind of utilised both baits together, so we're using 2 mixes. We just thought we'd utilise everything together, so pellets, bait, combine everything into one, fish together, fish as a team, and really work the area that we're going to fish. Again, we'll talk on a little bit about that later on, but yeah, that kind of concluded last night pretty much, because obviously the light came in pretty quick after that. We found ourselves in the dark. We both got our heads down after a long journey, obviously from the north of England. And yeah, pretty much what we decided to do is get our heads down, and then that then tied in with the morning. We decided to obviously go on a feature finding mission. Well, good morning. So this is probably the only time that myself and Matty are going to be in the boat together, because obviously even though we are on the first swim, obviously one of us is going to have to be at the rods. So the reason why obviously we are in the boat together is because we are on our first morning of our week-long session here in France, and Matty over there is kindly directing us on our feature finding mission.
Feature finding mission.
So yeah, what we're going to do is we are heading over to the far margin, which is probably 140 yards probably.
Done it on measure maps and it's about 45 wraps.
So yeah, so 45 wraps. So I don't know about you guys, I definitely can't cast that far. So we're going out in the boat, we're going to sort of, we've got a marker rod with us, we're going to find a few spots, and yeah, we've got a, show you our custom made marker. We've got a nice boat marker. Yeah, and yeah, hopefully we're going to catch a few silk pigs. So we'll catch you guys later on after we find a few spots. That's harder. So believe it or not, once myself and Matt had been on that feature finding mission, we got back to HQ, rigged up all 6 rods, and obviously managed to get them out. And by that time it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock, which is pretty much now, without checking, it is actually 4:30. So that ties in nicely to where we are right now at this very moment in time. So what we've decided to do for this particular evening, or our second evening, is Matty's kindly put on a barbecue. So we're going to get this grand downers for tonight. Now, unless anything happens on obviously mine or Matty's 3 rods, then what we'll probably do is call this a night here. We'll get this barbecue down us, and yeah, we'll catch up with you in the morning. And as usual and pretty customary to these longer session videos, we'll talk things about rigs, bait and everything like that a little bit later on. But for now, I'm going to get the barbecue down, mate, and we'll either see you tonight with the carp or see you in the morning. Well, here we are, guys. This is actually my second rod of the morning now to go out. And yeah, just as I've been chugging along in my little boat, probably about halfway across the lake. Some nice grey clouds on the horizon. So yeah, hopefully today is going to be a better day. So yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this rod out now. I'm going to obviously film everything, put it out, take it back to swim, and we'll catch up with you later on.
Okay, so I'm just on the way to put my second rod out. First rod's gone out already. As you already know, we're using the boat to put all our rods out. But yeah, it's I do apologise if I sound pretty down and low, but it's and I shouldn't, you know, we're only on Monday, so realistically if you were on a weekend session you'd be coming to the end of your session, but we've got a whole week left, and realistically I should be a bit more upbeat, but I just can't see where the next bite's coming from. And there's no fish in front of us that we can see that's actually shown, or any signs of feeding fish in front of us. So it's basically just going with the intention on where you think the fish are going to be, where they're going to move on to, where the most likely is the first place that they're going to come into your swim and where they're going to be. My first rod is just, I don't know if you can see it on this, just to the side of that tree that's fallen in, the broken tree. There's a bit of tinfoil glistening just off it, which we've put there when we went out searching for spots on Sunday morning. But yeah, all we can do is try really, and fingers crossed one of us can get a fish within the next 24 hours.
Thought you was in, you know. Keep the rod down, because keep it low, because you don't want, yeah, put it under Dave's line. Keep it lower, so it's right here, keep it right under that line. I'll try and pull it this way. Unfortunately, the boat will just go where it goes. Don't take margins. You're line free now.
Yeah.
Keep it up in the margins. What was this on? What rig?
That one that you was taking the piss out of. Go on, Jack.
Oh, I've missed.
It's right there.
Waves at net, mate. Right, stay there. Get that there, Alex. Right, free now. Come on, bit more, bit more, bit more.
Yes! Yes! Get in there!
Yes!
Get in!
Yes, lad! Boom!
We'll talk about timing. This could not be more welcome. I'll be honest with you, we've been kind of down in the dumps, not just me, not just Jack, all of us. It's been really tough conditions, and we've been waiting for a low pressure to come, which it has been promised to come this week, and it's not quite here, but it's definitely on the way. And if this is a sign of things to come, then roll on that low pressure. Absolutely chuffed to bits with this one. £13, and yeah, it's not the biggest in the lake, but like I said, it's more than welcome. So yeah, I'll slip this one back and get the rig back out on the spot, because it's the first bit of action that me and Jack have seen all week. We've seen nothing on the spot, we've seen no fish showing, so let's take this opportunity while it's here and see if we can bag another one. Let's get it back. Happy days. And there we have it, just over £13. Feels like it's been a long time coming, but realistically it's only been 48 hours for us having the rods in the water, but it's felt like a lot longer. So yeah, absolutely chuffed to bits. We'll slip her back, get that rig back on the spot, and let's see if we can turn one into two or maybe more. Thank you, my love. Get in there. Okay, so I just thought I'd take this opportunity to comment on what Jack's doing. This will probably be all done and dusted by the time the video comes out, but Jack's doing 100 kick-ups a day for Diabetes UK to raise money for charity. Brilliant thing he's doing for an amazing cause, but it's not going to plan.
So I'm going to do 200 today. Probably not going to do it in one go because one, ground's horrendous and I'm doing it in Crocs, so that is worth an extra 100, but there you go. So here we go.
In Crocs, mate.
Oh shit! Oh no!
Oh, it's proper going.
Oh no!
Oh, it's proper going.
That makes good viewing, to be
Oh,
fair.
it does.
So
Oh, what's the ball called off Castaway? Is it
Wilson.
Wilson! Wilson!
Wilson! Right, we're gonna have a little pause moment.
Where are you going, Jack?
I'm gonna somehow go and retrieve the ball, mate. You know, I bet you're right. I genuinely reckon I'm the only person doing these fundraising challenge who's
put a ball in a
ball,
lake.
and I've lost count. I think it's about 140 something.
You go. Where's the ball?
Oh, mate.
Hey, mate. If you get this in, you own a blank.
Yeah. Probably all I'm catching this week. Oh no. I'm not going in as well.
Wilson! Oh, this looks dangerous.
Please. Ooh.
Oh, so hope you fall in.
Please, sir. Can I have the ball back?
Good lad. Yeah. Well, we're probably just getting into the last hour of daylight now, and I'm just going to kind of wrap up on what's gone on today for you. It's not much to talk about because for the most part of the day it's been pretty slow and it's been really hard going, just like yesterday. Can't even comment and say that we've seen any signs of fish for me or Jack. Once again, in the far left corner in Ash's Swim, they've been showing up there. And we're definitely coming to the judgment now that the main reason we're seeing them in that corner is because last week we were told there was an oxygen crash and there is an inlet pipe in that corner which is bringing in fresh oxygen to the lake for the fish. Like I said before, we are confident that with this low pressure that's coming in, we've just checked the weather again and it is looking as carpy as anything. If you could get carpy weather, then that is what we're expecting for the next couple of days. We've got a really low pressure in, we've got high southwesterly winds, and we've got a lot of heavy rain coming tomorrow morning. So fingers crossed that is going to get the fish moving throughout the lake and give everyone an opportunity to have them fish over them. But tying up today, absolutely chuffed to bits with that fish. Yeah, it wasn't the biggest in the lake and it probably is one of the smallest in the lake, but with as hard going it has been and a slight change of tactics for me this morning, I'm absolutely chuffed to bits to put that fish on the bank. Couldn't have done it without Jack. It was a really double team effort that it was. Fish kited right straight away. We needed to get in the boat and Jack, acting as quick as he does, made sure that we got that fish on the bank. So yeah, massive thanks to him. So I think for the rest of the evening, me and Jack are going to sit out here now, watch the lake, see if we can see any fish moving onto them spots and see if we can see any fish moving at all throughout the lake. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll leave that there. If anything does happen in the night, we'll record it, we'll show you all what's going on. Fingers crossed it does, but if not, we'll catch you first thing in the morning. Well, good morning, and And as you can see, the low pressure has well and truly moved in. And like we said, we were hoping that the low pressure was going to make a difference to the angling, and it looks like it has. I've just had one, and within the space of 2 minutes, Ash down the other end of the bank's had one as well.
It'd be a lovely fish, just 30 pound bigger. I just sit there and drink wine for the rest of the week. Right, he's going to go back. Now, go and tell your mum and dad.
So if that's a things to come, then happy days. Again, this one's only 14 pound, one of the smallest stock that's in this lake, but more than welcome. It's showing the tactics are starting to work, and it's showing that the fish are finally moving on. So hopefully a few more a bit bigger than this, but yeah, well and truly welcome. So I'm going to slip this one back, I'm going to grab some breakfast and get the rods out, which should be fun in these conditions.
About mid-morning now. If I'm being honest, we're only Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday, mate, yeah?
Morale's been a little bit low because, yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's been difficult for everybody, but the low pressure that obviously we've been talking about has finally come in this morning, and yeah, although it's not great from a filming aspect, there's 3 fish caught now, so 2 to Matty, 1 last night, 1 this morning, and Ash managed 1 as well this morning, so obviously shows that it's working. It feels like it's a long way out at the moment. I think that's about 45 wraps to the far side.
45 wraps, mate.
We're probably talking, I don't know, 180, 190 yards, and it's only 3 or 4 foot deep the whole lake, so at the moment it's just a matter of dragging him in, really.
10% battery.
Oh no.
Talk me through.
A few moments later.
Oh mate, I've just took a step off the end of the swim, and I've just wrecked it now. It's freezing.
Oh man!
If this is not a 30, I'll be fuming.
Should get over that, the sunk. That's a nice comment though.
Well, cold doesn't quite come into it at the moment. Obviously, as you've probably just seen, I had a little bit of trouble. Being 5 foot's quite difficult, you know. So I took a step off in my waders because it is quite shallow, believe it or not. And so the bailiff said anyway. So I took a step off to try and get a bit of advantage to wade out and net the fish, and yeah, I took one foot off the end of the swim, and I just seemed to disappear. The tip eye was stuck out of the water and I was blubbering away underneath it. So yeah, the water's filled my waders. I'm absolutely freezing. So yeah, I'm not going to keep this fish out because yeah, I think I need to get warm, to be fair. But I think the biggest concern at the moment is that we've had 4 fish now, and it is great for morale. However, they're all of a similar stamp and size to this one, so I don't know what the plan's going to be moving forward. I don't know if we sort of come off and see if we can seek that deeper water. I'm not so sure yet, but yeah, great for morale, but let's hopefully try and get amongst those bigger ones. Afternoon. So it's been a good couple of hours now since we last spoke. I'm definitely having a bad day today. Granted, I've caught a fish, so it's not all bad, but yeah, just one of those days where everything seems to be going wrong. But yeah, there we go, we keep going. So yeah, you currently join me now back on the boat, and I am just in pursuit of going to the other side of the lake. And yeah, I'm putting the rod back out. So yeah, I've obviously been a couple of hours, because the reason I've left it for a couple of hours and not put it straight back out is because the bailiff actually said, as we did our walk around on the first day, that even though it's a big lake, even though it's about 7 acres and it's big enough in terms of not quite small water, what he did actually say is that it suffers from small water syndrome, as in because it is ridiculously shallow. Like, I think it's only you know, 2.5, 3 foot all the way across. The fish know you're there, so he said once you've actually got your rods out, leave them out. Don't sort of bring them in every morning and do them again for the night. He said once they're out, leave them for a good 24 hours, 36 hours. So yeah, basically what I've done is obviously left it till about 2, 3 o'clock, which is where we are now. And I've put them out for tonight, and then it'll probably be the same again tomorrow, if I'm being honest. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, once this rod goes out, either I obviously won't bring it in now till I catch another carp, or, ooh, thought there was a bosh there, or obviously I'll bring it in tomorrow. So yeah, what I'm going to do, get to the other side, and I will show you exactly where I'm putting this rod. Right guys, well here I am on the other side, on the far margin, and all I'm going to do, just lower my rig into position. I mean, it's incredibly shallow there, but so all I'm doing now, guys, is just keeping the line as straight as I can, and then sinking it as we go. See you on the other side. Don't know how well you can see this, guys, but for someone who takes pride in his kit and likes everything clean and tidy, this is just horrendous. Feels like the battle of the Somme at the moment in this swim. There's obviously Matty's set up, and yours truly. And obviously if you didn't know it was autumn, you definitely can now. Look at all them leaves. Mental.
Okay, so I just thought I'd give you a quick update while I'm heading back down to the lake. I've just been to put a few batteries on charge for the camera, the GoPro, things like that. And yeah, I mean, the morale in camp is a lot better this afternoon. With 5 fish, I think it is now, on the bank between the 5 of us. Still 2 more people to catch, but things are looking a lot better than they were 24, 48 hours ago. You know, I'm especially feeling more confident now. The rigs are out for this evening. Jack's back at the lake watching the rods for us, and yeah, I feel like, yeah, there's a good chance tonight. There's a chance it could go. Same for Jack. The fish are definitely on the move. When I was in the boat before, putting one of the rods out, there was fish moving up towards the mix end of the lake, which we haven't seen all week. So the fish are definitely on the move. That low pressure and that big band of rain that's come in, and the lower pressure that's coming in tomorrow, has definitely made a difference.
Good evening, guys. So I just thought I would give you an update. Obviously, as we're settling in now for night 4, I think we're on night 3, night 4. It's Tuesday night anyway, so we're sort of quickly approaching halfway through the week. And yeah, it's not going great, if I'm being truthful. The biggest fish we've had between 4 fish now is 14 pounds. It's not great, don't get me wrong, you know, it's not really why we come to France and travel the, you know, the long distance from the north of England, and you know, you pay for your ferry costs and everything, and it's not, you know, I don't want to sound, you know, unappreciative, because every fish is a fish, isn't it? And a couple of days ago I would quite literally have taken a fish, but yeah, £14 is not really the one. So it's looking pretty bleak at the moment. However, there has been some really nice low pressure coming yesterday night, I'd say, and then obviously all day today, which has made the filming incredibly difficult, to be honest. But yeah, we're going to keep filming, we're going to keep persevering. Hopefully we can catch a few more fish. But yeah, what we're going to do now, obviously we've got the rods out, we've had our tea, we're probably going to have a social, have a look at some of the footage, see what we need to get, because I think we're a little bit behind, if I'm being honest. Obviously it won't make any difference to you guys because you'll just see it as one video, but yeah, I think we're a little bit behind, so I'll get some B-roll. There's a really lovely sunset tonight as well. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to probably, like I said, watch that, get some footage out and kick back for the evening. So as ever, if anything happens through the night, then we will let you know, either both myself or Matty, and if it doesn't, then we will catch you bright and early in the morning.
So we're now mid-afternoon on Wednesday, and while I got 5 minutes, I just thought I'd run you through the rigs and the spots that I'm fishing on this current trip. So, as you well know, it's been pretty tricky so far. We haven't had much to act upon. So the spots I'm fishing are kind of where I expect the fish to be at this time of year. Going off what we've seen in Ash's swim, that the fish have been held up on the far bank to his left-hand side. So it seems the perfect place to actually present in a rig on the start of this trip. And by now I've had 2 fish, Jack's had 1 and Ash has had 2 on that far bank. So that's continuing where I'm going to fish for the rest of the trip unless I see anything different. The 2 rods that I am fishing for the left and the middle, like I said, are on the far bank. They're both pretty pinned up against the snags. So the rigs I'm going for them spots, I'm fishing all 3 rods on heli-safe systems. I want the fish to get up to the surface as quickly as possible. There isn't that many weed beds or anything like that, so that's not the reason for that at all. I want to get them to that surface as quickly as possible, and using that heli-safe setup with the lead dropping off instantly on the take, that seems to be the best presentation for me. So moving on to the rig presentation. Now, I did start off on this session using spinner rigs. They are something that's been covered loads and loads in the past, and to be fair, it's something I've not really gone into that much. So I did start off on that. I kind of did join the crowd, if you will, so to speak, thinking that it probably would be the presentation. I didn't opt for a high-vis pop-up on a spinner rig. I did go for a match the hatch wafter, but even after 24 hours, I wasn't feeling it. My confidence wasn't there. I had a quick sit down and thought to myself, what can I do that's going to put me in confidence and something that I think that might work on this session? So I went back to this. Now, this is a rig I've favoured over a lot of sessions now. I think if you've watched any of our videos, the Old Mill session, I used this rig and it stood me in really good stead. I had a fantastic week on there, and every pickup that I had, I landed. And that is the liner rig. I'm using a semi-stiff coated hook link, and it's on a slip D setup as well. Now, the hook bait I'm actually using, like I previously said, I think these fish in here have seen high-vis pop-ups throughout the year, and I think they will shy away from them. So I'm just going for a snowman setup, if you will. So yeah, mega impressed with that. Now on the right rod, I'm kind of casting to showing fish, not that we've seen any, but I'm using a naked shot system, something that I do like to use at this time of year. It has done really well for me in the past, and I'm just trying to see if there's any showing fishing to cast on. Currently, I've got it in the middle of the lake because no one seems to be fishing in the middle, and it is deeper, but it is very, very silty. Hence the way I'm using the naked shot system, so I know for a fact that it's going to be presented on that really deep silt. I'm not putting any bait around it at all, hoping that a fish will come past and curiosity will get the better of it. But once again, like I said, it is going to be a rod that I'm going to be casting to show fish if there is any. So yeah, that's how I'm setting my 3 rods up. That's how I've started the session. We're midway through and I'm not going to be changing anything from now. With having 2 fish landed on these 2 setups, that for me, I don't see any reason to change it.
So something that's come pretty customary now to the Northern Carp Diaries special episodes is we usually do a feature or a piece on the specific venue that we're fishing. And the reason for that is a lot of the feedback that we got in sort of our early videos is people wanting to sort of, have a bit more information because they're travelling to the venue that we're fishing for the first time, or, they're travelling a long way and there's certain aspects of that venue that they'd like to know. Some things that, other videos don't not necessarily, feature with, and that's nothing against those, but sometimes they don't really go into the specifics of the venue. this is obviously a feature that we like to add in, just so that if there is anybody coming, you know, wishing to come to these venues for the first time, then obviously you can get as much information as possible from these videos. There's none more important, I think, than these special episodes than this particular one, and the reason that I say that is because myself and Matty have actually travelled to this venue for our first time, and what we found is that, you know, we didn't have that information that we hope now that we can give. There's nothing online, quite literally. There's a website, obviously, how we found about the place, but apart from that, that is as far as the information went. So hopefully, if you are looking at coming to this venue for yourself, then, you know, this piece might be a massive help for you. So I'll start with the size of the lake. So according to the internet, it actually states that it's 7 acres, although if I'm being a little bit truthful, I have to say I feel it's a little bit smaller than that. I'd probably put it within the 5 acre category more than 7, if I'm honest, but again, I've not measured it as such, but it's not as big as what I sort of remember, to be totally honest. But yeah, so it's 7 acres, and one thing that we have found as well is that it is incredibly silty. The guy who owns it, Tibor, he's a lovely fellow. He's called Tibor, and he gave us some really good information on our first day. One of them being that it's a 300-year-old lake, and don't get me wrong, it's absolutely stunning. It's surrounded in, I think, 150 acres of natural reserve. So there's deers here, there's kingfishers, there's woodpeckers. It is an absolute haven of wildlife. So if you want somewhere, or you're looking for a venue in France where, you know, you can come, it's not just about the fishing, it's about the wildlife, the whole experience, then look no further than this venue, because this has literally everything. As I speak now, there's a bull that's looking at me, giving me the eyes. But yeah, it's got everything. There's donkeys, it's just brilliant. We've been sat in our bivvies, there's been wild deer roaming behind. It's absolutely incredible. So with that being said, obviously, you know, the age and its beauty and everything that comes with it, also that comes with detritus and debris, which obviously means that the lake is actually quite full of silt. We have found that. We went out on the first day and we sort of did a few spots with marker rods, and it's incredibly soft absolutely everywhere. Not only that, but it's incredibly shallow too. So again, something to bear in mind for this particular venue is that although the Tibor, the guy who owns it, has said that there's a couple of pockets at 5 foot, personally I've not found them, to be honest, and there's a couple of guys with us that have got bait boats and they've not found them. That's not to say that they're not there, but whether they've been covered in silt now, I'm not sure. But yeah, it is incredibly shallow lake. It's probably 3 foot. There's even been a point where I'm fishing on the far margin where, you know, you can see my hook bait on the bottom after I've put the rig in. So there's currently 4 swims on the lake. So as you approach the lake from the track, or the access track, what you'll find is the first swim that you come to has actually got a fully loaded cabin. The cabin runs off solar power, so obviously just bear that in mind if you want to start charging, you know, big things like your outboard, your motors, if you have a lot of camera kit like we do. Just obviously be very conscious that, you know, you will drain that battery, especially now as well in the winter months. You're not getting that sun that you would normally get on the solar panel, so obviously, you know, something just to bear in mind if you do come to this venue, that you might need a couple of power packs if you like electricity or something like that, because yeah, the solar panel doesn't last that long. Inside the cabin there's a fully formed kitchen. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty basic, but it is there. There's a 4-burner gas hob, which again doesn't run off electricity, it's just a gas bottle, so you should be fine if you wanted to cook in the cabin. There's a hot water boiler as well. That again, that's obviously powered by the solar panel, so be conscious as well that you might, depending on the time of year, you might not be able to have a hot shower. And also, that cabin being a swim, you can actually sleep in there because you won't need a bivvy if you're using swim 1. Swim 1 commands quite a bit of water as well, to be honest, in front of you. There's a nice open water which leads you onto the whole lake itself. It's a pretty uniform shape, almost circular in size. There's not really any features, there's no humps, no gravel bars. It's pretty uniform bottom, shallow at one end, slopes to the other end at, you know, 3.5–4 feet at the deepest, which is actually in front of the cabin. So moving the way around, then you come to your first double swim, which is swim 2, which is currently where you join myself and Matty in as well. And this swim, to be honest, this is something that I wish I would have known online, is that it doesn't stipulate online anywhere, or there's no information that says you have to use a bait boat. But I would honestly say that if you don't own a bait boat, or you don't have a boat with an outboard, then I would certainly say that that is a necessity for this swim, because what we found for this particular session on this swim is that it's probably about 45 wraps, or the equivalent of nearly 200 yards to the side. Personally, I don't know many people that can be that accurate casting that far. So yeah, just bear that in mind, that if you are coming to this venue, buy a bait boat, rent a bait boat, or get a boat and an outboard as well. Moving on from swim 2, round the other side, there's swim 3. Again, it's a really nice double swim, probably accommodating 2 smaller bivvies. You're probably not going to get 2 huge bivvies on there with social caps or anything like that, but you know, 2 one-man shelters, something along them lines, and then there's a nice jetty as well, just to get you in front of all the vegetation. That has a really nice margin on the left-hand side, and then obviously you get the margin on the far side in front of you as well. And what we found as well is that the fish are boshing on that margin as well, so it obviously shows that because there is no swims on that far margin from where we are, that the fish like it over there. So obviously just bear in mind that probably from swim 3 and 2 you would definitely need a boat or a bait boat. The reason I don't say that for the cabin swim is because that ties on to swim 4. So T-Bo said on the first day we arrived that's actually an optional swim, so you don't have to fish swim 4. But again, it is a swim, and obviously you command a lot of the nearer margin on that far side, hence why you can't fish it from the cabin side, because you'll be cutting off swim 4. So yeah, that's a little bit closer, so that's probably only 60 to 70 yards if I'm being honest, so that is obviously a bit more comfortable for casting. So all the swims except from the cabin swim have all got nice wood chip and nice bark, so you don't need to worry about ground sheets unless you have to. Just one thing to be conscious of is swim 1, the cabin, and swim 4, it is wooden platforms in terms of putting your rods, so you might need a rod pod or stage stands. You can get away with it in swim 4 because you can bring your rods a lot closer to you and put them in front of your actual bivvy. You can drive around to more swims. You can't get around the entire lake by a vehicle, but you can get from right the way from the cabin swim all the way around to peg 3, and then in the opposite direction you can get down to swim 4. So yeah, you don't really need a barrow if I'm being honest, if you're planning on coming. But like I said, the biggest thing to factor in that I wasn't aware of, that I couldn't get online, is that you will definitely need a boat or a bait boat or equivalent in order to get your rigs into position, because it will be very difficult, especially with the accuracy, to get 180, 190 yards that's required specifically from this swim. There is also a toilet on site. It's a compostable toilet, so they've got your typical sawdust. Don't get me wrong, it's not your frills and anything, but it does a job. We have found in this particular venue as well that you need to bring your own bog roll, so just again bear that in mind whether you need to buy some from Lidl or bring it across. But yeah, there's a composting toilet, it's clean enough, and yeah, there's not much more you can say really. Toilet's a toilet, but there is one on site, but it doesn't have mains water to the toilet, whereas you have mains water in the cabin, so you can drink it as well. Can you drink the water?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Now, what I will say on the mains water is that it's fed from the local village into an IBC tank, which is on site. The IBC tank then is the main sort of header tank, if you like, which then goes into the cabin. Personally, I would probably boil the water first before consuming it. So it's perfect for brews, or just boil it, let it cool down, and sort of use that for your drinks. But yeah, just my opinion. There's actually nothing wrong with it. It's just, you don't know how long it's been sat in the IBC for, but that's my opinion. In terms of fish stocks, there's not been a great deal online, to be totally honest with you, and that's kind of the beauty of, when the buzzer does go off, you actually don't really know what you're going to catch. Now, we did know, I'd be lying if I said we wasn't aware of the biggest fish in the lake, which is a common of 53 pounds. We believe the stock to be around about 200 fish, so 200 fish in I'd say 5 acres, but 7 acres officially. And he said that there was 40 of those which are over 40 pounds, and 20 fish over 40 pounds, and there was 100 fish over 30 pounds. Now, as it stands, obviously we haven't managed to get amongst those bigger fish yet. We've managed a couple of, but what I would imagine is the stock fish for now. But yeah, if there's any questions, if you're coming to Deer Park and you've never been before, and you've got any questions around how what we found, or any additional information that I haven't covered, then please just get in touch with us on our Instagram page, get in touch through Facebook, anything like that, or even better, leave any comments in the comment section below, and we'll get back to every single comment. If there's any scope for videos around, if you've never been to France before, what to choose, how to get bait over, things like that, just leave any comments leave any comments below in the video, and what we'll do is we'll probably do a specific video on coming to France for the first time. We'll talk about ports, we'll talk about costs, we'll talk about bait, anything like that. So if that's something you're interested in, just leave a comment below. But for this particular venue, I'm no expert on this venue, but I kind of wish that there was some information online similar to this one that we're going to produce for you. I kind of wish that there was that online, ahead of when we came. So yeah, hopefully there's enough information for you there. What I'm going to do now is get back to my swim and probably get the rods out for the rest of the day. So yeah, as ever guys, just press the like button and leave any comments if there's anything we've not talked about. Well, how about that for a wake-up call? So we're on to Thursday morning now, and there's a little less than 48 hours remaining, I would say. And although this isn't the queen of the pond by any means, it certainly feels like a much bigger fish, because as you know, we've been catching the smaller ones and getting amongst the stockers. I would imagine that, yeah, this certainly feels like one of the bigger ones, even though it's not quite big. She's ounces shy of 30 pounds. She's just tipped the scales at 29.13, something like that. So a few more boilers and she probably would have touched 30 pounds, but given how the week's gone, I've got to level with you guys that I feel that this is a very good fish for this particular water. Although, like you said, it's not the monster that we was all hoping for in France. It's certainly one of the bigger girls, and in, like I said, 18 inches of water. It's definitely a welcome surprise. So yeah, I'm not going to keep her on the bank much longer. We're going to see if we can get some stills in the water, and we'll get her back. One last look at her. He says, look at that. Mega. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. So it's been 5 or 6 hours now since I caught that fish, and yeah, basically the rods have actually been out of the water because obviously when I had that fish, obviously it was about breakfast time anyway, so we reeled in, we had some breakfast, and by the time we got back the boat battery had ran out. So unfortunately what we've done is we've obviously had a leisurely sort of just a rearrange of the swim, like I said, midweek, just change everything, make sure everything's charged, with the lights, all that. Went up to the cabin where there's facilities on site, and we managed to charge the boat battery for a couple of hours. So albeit it's still a bit slow, we're not exactly travelling at the speed of sound, but I'm just on a baiting up mission, because what I've decided to do is I've decided to leave the rods out all day today, rest the swim, albeit I'm not catching, but rest the swim, come on a bit of a baiting mission, and yeah, what I'll do when I get back to the bank is talk everything about bait for you. Right guys, so you see that hole just there? That's where I've been having those fish from. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay the bait in just all along this section here, from this rhododendron to that rhododendron, all in here. Because yeah, if there's any fish milling around up and down this margin, I can fish anywhere in this hole and hopefully get amongst them. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Heading into base camp now. Here he is, his lad. Something dodgy going on in bushes over there, like. So we are just off to do our 3 daily battery run, what's turned out to be a daily occurrence. So I just thought I'd run you through the bait mixes now that myself and Matty have been using. As I've said pretty much throughout the whole video so far, we've been very fortunate that we've been on the same swim together. Now we did initially come with 2 separate baits because, like I said, this is a virgin venue for both myself and Matty. So we wasn't actually aware of terms of where we were going to fish, whether we were going to be together. So we actually turned out, Matty turned up with sticky baits krill, and I actually turned up with the manila because my approach was going to be more of a nutty based mix where Matty was going to go along the krill route. However, as it turns out, because we are fishing together, we decided pretty much from the day dot that we were going to utilise both baits together and try and sort of snare those wary carp, mix the baits together. We added a bit of sweet corn as well, which I'll run through, in the hope that, you know, because we don't actually know how the fish are going to feed, how they react to boilies, crumb, things like that, that we're going to make a sort of 2 big mixes, if you like, which I'll show you now. So inside this bucket, this is one of 2 buckets. Like I said before, what we decided to mix the krill and the manila boilies together, as well as lots of other things as well. So what's going on in this bucket? Well, what you've actually got here is you've got some Aller aqua pellets, which we've used absolutely everywhere. Most fish or fisheries, you know, reared on this. The fish, absolutely, I've never met a fish yet that doesn't like pellets. We've got the manila boilies in half, we've chopped them, we've crushed them, we've got a massive array of smaller items in there. We've done the same with the krill and the krill active that Matty kind of brought as well. So we've got krills, we've got whole ones, we've got 16mm ones, we've got 12mm ones, we've got half ones. There's just a huge array of krill scent as well. And on top of that, I've added some crushed peanuts, we've got some crushed tigers, and we've also got some whole tigers as well. On top of that as well, we've got some 2.3mm krill pellets, and we've also got some 2.3mm manila pellets as well. So basically what that does is that gives us a whole host of array of scents, sizes, flavours, and obviously when it goes into the lake, you get that huge variety of the way that it sinks down. You've got all the sort of scent off the smaller pellets rising in the column as well. So if there's any fish in and around the area, you know, this is going to be a mix that attracts fish from far and wide. So that's the mix that myself and Matt have decided to knock up. Obviously we've got 2 full buckets of this, or we certainly had at the beginning of the week. But obviously that's what we've been putting up sort of absolutely everywhere. The only thing that's not in this bucket that's worth mentioning as well is we've been using sweet corn in our mix. Now anyone who's used sweet corn at any length in the past will know that the longer you have your sweet corn in a mix, the drier it becomes and then it actually floats. So we've kept the sweet corn in the tin separately to this bucket, but we have been feeding corn as well, just for that visual element. And as well, it gives you a hook bait option as a little bit of colour. So that's the mix that myself and Matthew have sort of both been sharing on that far margin, and obviously it has been working because so far it's the only sort of area of the lake that's been producing fish. So that's the mix, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk you through my more specific nutty mix that I've been putting over my solid bag. So this is more specific to myself, and I only put this in a 5 litre bucket because I've only been putting it over 1 rod, but as I've mentioned throughout the whole video, tiger nuts and nuts and things like that are actually allowed on this venue, which is a big result for me because I absolutely love tigers, peanuts, things like that. So it lends itself perfectly to this style of mix. So this is literally, as the name suggests, it's a mixture of everything nutty. Now, I have brought manila with me, and I've brought them in 12mm and 16mm, and I've got the manila actives. So what I've also done at the beginning of the week to tie in with the mix that we've obviously got with Matty, I've chopped some manilas as well, and I've obviously just crushed them in my finger so I get that different array of sizes. I've put those into this mix. I've put some manila 2.3mm pellets into this mix as well. And what I've also got is I've got some crushed peanuts, I've got some crushed tigers, and I've got some whole tigers. And to finish all that off, I've added a big dollop of cloudy manila liquid just to give it that sort of, you know, that liquidy feel. And honestly, when I've been putting that into the water, guys, you should see it creates a massive cloud, and all of the different sizes, pellets and scents are just lovely going through those water columns. Unfortunately, guys, obviously this hasn't caught me a fish yet, but I have that much confidence in tiger nuts and peanuts and everything nutty that I'm going to continue to use this for the rest of the session. So hopefully I'm going to get this back out there for tonight, and we'll get you another big fat carp. So the sun is finally out. Me and Matty are well and truly capitalising on the vitamin D, because that is indicative of the weather that we've had on the last couple of days. Not just me falling in, but just the sheer rain, wet weather is absolutely saturated. So we've got waders drying out, we've got clothes hanging out, literally everywhere we can find, just clothes, hoping to try and dry out. It's been a wet one, guys. Absolutely horrific. The swim's utter carnage. But we're still going. We've got about 48 hours left now, or probably about 40 hours before we've got to get off. So we keep going. We'll try and catch another silk pig. Right guys, well, we've had a bit of a nightmare. So we've come to get the rods out for this evening, probably about 3 hours ago. And we've gone to change the battery before we got the rods out. And basically there's not enough power in the cabin that we've got over there to charge the battery. So we've actually got no batteries for the outboard. So we're back to good old manual labour. The problem is to get 4 rods out there, because there's 2 of mine on the far spot and 2 of Matty's now as well. The problem is to get them over there. It's took a hell of a lot longer, because not only have you got to get out there, you've got to get back with your line lay. So yeah, I will see you when we get over there. Right guys, right, well here I am on the other side. Oh, sugar. If this isn't an advert for shorter rods in a boat, I don't know what is. So just for tonight, I'm actually going to fish a little bit further off this snag than usual, because I haven't caught anything right up to it, and I've been baiting throughout the day, but quite off it. So all I'm going to do, ooh, there's a nice swirl there. All I'm going to do is just drop it in, put some baiting over the top. Tell you what, I'm just going to get a bit closer. You ready, guys? Plop. And then all I'm going to do is put some of this mix over the top, guys. Look at this nutty mix. Look at that in the water, guys. Does it get any better than that? There's the foam. You can't get any more accurate than that, guys. There we go, guys. And let's try and sort this line lay in a moment. This is going to be the hardest bit of the whole thing now. Trying to get this line lay. Yeah. Just nowhere near where I need to be, am I?
to 24 hours now. Ow, you never said there were storms on here.
Right, well, this is it. Just less now. Is it less? What time is it?
It's probably bang on.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, well, hang on. We've got like 23 hours left.
So this is it. 23 hours remaining of our session. And to say it's been difficult, don't know about you, but I think it's been extremely difficult.
I was saying to you before, I genuinely think this has been one of the, not just in France, but one of the toughest week-long sessions that I've had in a long time. I think both of us, not even just both of us, I think everyone on this lake has angled well. They've put the effort in. And to say the rewards have been worth it, yes, it's been nice to get fish out, but I think for the effort we've put in and the size of the fish we've had to show, I feel like we should have had more. But if the fish aren't there, you can't catch them, can you?
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think, you know, looking back, don't get wrong, we've really enjoyed the social aspect and the banter and stuff, but I think, you know, it's nothing against the venue. I just feel that the difficulty level for what we've had to endure, for the stamp of fish that we've caught, whether that's just unlucky, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tibor said that the average stamp was about £30, and you know,
you've not even with a 29, it's still not scraped that £30 barrier.
You know, no one's actually caught above that £30 yet. So basically, we've been way less than average.
Yeah, I think everything's gone not against us this week, but it's been hard in the fact that there has been an oxygen crash last week. You know, we've turned up, we don't know if anyone had fished last week. If there has been an oxygen crash, you don't know how much bait's gone in.
Yeah,
that could have had a massive effect on the fishing. The fact that the weather's been, the pressure has dropped, but we've had to wait quite a few days for that to happen. It's dropped so quick. Are they not feeding straight off on the pressure drop? There's a couple of factors we could take into it, but at the end of the day, it's been a good laugh. And there's still 23 hours left yet. So, I know we're hoping big.
So how are you, with 23 hours left, how are you going to approach today then, and obviously tonight? Like,
I'm not going to change anything. I think I'm going to, with regards to actual rigs, I'm going to stick to exactly the same. I'm going to stick to exactly the same spots. It's weird I've had 2 fish. I'll be silly to move away from that now. It's not like we've seen fish on other spots. So you're staying with
the same hook baits? Like
I'm going to go all out pink.
Right, okay. Why is that?
Mainly because, yes, I've took one on pink and one on a match the hatch, but your fish has come off pink as well. Yeah. I think Ash's fish, I think he come off pink. So it's looking like a trend. Okay. So I think my best chances to have a fish out tonight will be to move everything onto pink. So it could be completely wrong, but I'll feel more confident tonight sat behind them rods. So what about you then? What's your plans for tonight? Are you going to change anything?
I don't know, to be honest. Cause I mean, obviously, I started the week on tiger nuts. I absolutely love tiger nuts. I've got so much confidence in them. But it's only when I changed over to the pink, I actually caught a fish.
That's it.
And obviously caught both. I've had obviously one on a pink pop-up and a pink wafter. So I don't know, because I still have so much confidence in tigers that I'm not so sure whether I should, because it's difficult to sort of sit here now and say it's worked, because I don't feel like anything has worked as such, because it's been a struggle.
It's not like one of us has been having it off all week on a certain rig or a certain colour or bait.
It's just that because I have caught them 2 fish on pink, I think it would be a bit silly to change. But you know, the last fish came 2 days ago. You know, so
and let's be fair, actual free bait around the rigs, we've both been fishing the same.
Absolutely, everything's been the same. We've been fishing together, and
literally exactly the same. Other than the hook bait, everything's been the same.
Yeah, it has.
So with 23 hours left, I think there's always a chance. It's going to be hard, but it's been a cracking session. It's been hard, but the social aspect's been a good laugh. It's exactly what we wanted from a social aspect. Fishing, it'd been nice to get a few more big ones on the bank for everyone, but
still time yet. Still time.
So
yeah, so let's get the rods out then.
Let's get the rods out.
Hopefully, with 23 hours left, you'll see us again with a big fat carp.
Fingers crossed. This is quite weird looking up at you. Like that, it doesn't often happen.
If you can cast your mind back, this swim wasn't underwater at the beginning of the week. Now my rods are underwater. Literally in 24 hours, I reckon we've probably added 4 or 5 inches to the water level, which is a hell of a lot overnight. It's proper put some down. Jesus, look at that. as I've said throughout this video, if I was going to make any changes to the rigs or the sort of presentation that's going out there, I would let you know. And I did make a change probably 24, 48 hours ago now, which actually resulted in, well, not both of those two fish, because one of them was on the fluorocarbon D rig, but the other fish actually came to a rig that you've probably seen a million times on YouTube, and I thought I'd just talk you through it anyway. So that's obviously the running rig, the spinner rig, whatever you want to call it, but basically because there's so much debris and it's so soft out there, I just thought that putting a pink pop-up on, you know, over a running rig, it's the tried thing to do, isn't it? But do you know what, since they came out, I've caught so many fish on it and I've got a lot of confidence in it, so I just thought, why not, because nothing else seemed to be working, and yeah, obviously that night it actually caught me a fish. So that's what's going to go out there tonight. It's just a standard running rig. It's got a stiff boom section onto a slip D, so I do like the slip D versions of them, and that's just topped off with a squid pink pop-up. And finally, again, just for this evening, I'm going to try something that, you know, you've seen 1,000 times on this particular channel, and I have been using the fluorocarbon D rig, but it's not really been doing well, and albeit not every rig's been doing it. But basically what I've done this time is I've gone back to my ever faithful slip D combi rig, and on that I've just corked out a tiger nut, but obviously instead of putting your standard cork in it, I've actually put some yellow Signet Zig foam in. And the reason I've done that is because I have been putting sweet corn out in the mix over the last 5-6 days now, and I just feel that if there's any colour on the bottom, not only does that obviously critically balance the tiger nut, but it also means that it gives it that little bit of colour, and it just sits perfectly every single time. So yeah, they're what's going to go out there tonight, and hopefully we can catch another fish on the last night, but yeah, we'll have to see how it goes.
Okay, so this is it, the final rod to go out for the final night. And yeah, to be fair, I'm actually feeling quite confident. I don't know if that's just the fact that it's the last night and a nice big fat carp would go really nicely to end the film, but I'm feeling confident. So we're going to get this rod on the spot, and then I'll return the boat to Jack. He's going to get his last rod out, and then that's all we can do. So fingers crossed, the next time you see us will be with a big fat carp in our hands. Fingers crossed.
Right, well, last night carnage. Ash has just managed one about an hour ago. Just done the photos for that, and yeah, we think Matty's got one as well. So we're just waiting for the boat to come up round, and we're going to go and hunt it down, because it might have taken us into a snag, or it's a lump. So we're about to find out. Out in the old boat. Hopefully, fingers crossed, she's still on. I'll let you know when we get there, guys. You want to do the update?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
You've got the light behind us, yeah?
Yeah, turn yours off, I'll put this above you.
Okay, so as you can probably tell by the sound of my very, very depressed voice, that take didn't turn into a successful fish on the bank. It took line straight away, even though fishing locked up, it buried its head and gone straight into the snags, and by the time we got there it ditched the hook and there was no way getting it out. So yeah, absolutely devastated, but it could be a sign of things to come. It's the first sign of a feeding fish we've seen since Jack had that one. Ash has already had one earlier this night, so fingers crossed, get a rig tied up, get it back on the spot, and you never know, we might have a fish to tell by the end of the night, or that might be our one chance gone, but at least we'll see what happens. Catch you soon.
Right, well, here we are, and as much I'd love to stand here and tell you that it's been a good few days since we got back, that'd actually be a lie. It's been a good few weeks now, for one thing or another. Time just absolutely escaped us, and unfortunately that fish that Matty lost on the last night was the last action. Now, the reason you joined me in my garage, and obviously we're not on the bank, is because as you have seen, the temperature on the last night absolutely plummeted. And unfortunately, because we had no electricity throughout the week, it was extremely difficult to keep all of the batteries charged. What we wanted to try and do was obviously maintain 100% battery in case someone did catch one. Unfortunately, the fish that Matty lost on the last night was actually the last fish. So yeah, basically, even though no one caught anything on the last night, we decided to keep the battery at full capacity. But when we arose in the morning to obviously film this outro, because the temperature plummeted that much, it just sapped the life out of the battery anyway. So yeah, so here we are, we're having to do the outro, the ending to this film, in the garage and not actually on the bank. So like I've just mentioned, it's been a good couple of weeks now since we actually got back from that trip, and I just thought, as well as doing a bit of an outro to this video, I thought it would also be a good time just to summarise as well. We've had a couple of weeks now to sort of sit down, edit a bit of the video and obviously reflect on what obviously wasn't to be, I guess. So whether there was something that we got wrong, whether it was myself, Matty, my dad, whoever, you know, it just, for whatever reason, it didn't work. And that's something that we've always been honest about on this channel. You know, our ambitions is to document the highs of carp fishing and the lows as well. And if I'm being truthful to you guys and to myself, this particular trip was certainly a low point. You know, we had a lot of expectations. Like I said, unfortunately the fishing wasn't up to what we expected, but you know, that's carp fishing, you can't win them all. Sometimes you turn up to these venues, especially unknown venues, and sometimes you can get it wrong, sometimes you catch it on the wrong week. But yeah, despite the lack of fish and the genuine effort that I put in, or we all put in to try and get a fish on the bank, unfortunately it just wasn't to be. So with all that aside, so I just want to say at this point that despite the video not turning out quite how we expected it to, I just want to reiterate again, on the same as I do on every single video, that I sincerely hope you enjoyed the video as a production, if you like. Don't really like using that word, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, you know, it'd be really, really appreciated if you wouldn't mind pressing the subscribe button. Obviously like the video as well if you did like it. And more importantly for me, is one of the sort of real nice things about this channel is the ability to interact with you guys. So please consider leaving a comment, write your feedback or anything sort of good or bad or whatever it may be, and I vow to you guys that I will respond to every single one of them. The big thing for me is just being able to interact with you guys, whether you've had similar sessions on the bank, whether you haven't, or even tips that you feel that we could improve the video content moving forward. So I just want to say thanks again. If you have subscribed, it's really appreciated from me. You know, it really helps grow the channel. It doesn't cost you a penny. You just need a Google account or a YouTube account to subscribe. You just click the button, doesn't cost you a thing, probably 2 or 3 seconds of your time. And if you want to get notifications that when we upload videos like this one, press the bell icon and you'll be notified via email as soon as we upload videos. Now, as we move into 2023, you know, we have got some plans in terms of trying to get more regular content out there, because we are conscious that we don't really, you know, produce as much content as we would like. Don't get me wrong, it is difficult, and I might even do a video on sort of the ins and outs and everything that we do in terms of how we make fishing vlogs. It is difficult trying to balance family time, getting on the bank, actual fishing and filming, and then the editing as well. So yeah, basically what we're going to do sort of moving forward is a couple of plans. Is we're going to try and upload more frequently, so more regular content. Obviously it might not be as long or in terms of like the full in-piece sessions, but we've got a couple of ideas to try and get some smaller videos out there just to drip throughout the year. We've also got a mammoth adventure planned for next year. It's not relating to carp fishing, but it will go live on this channel. So keep an eye out for that, because believe you me, although it's not fishing, that's going to be one hell of an adventure. So yeah, just on that note, what I will say, like I said, if I've already said it before, is I really hope you enjoyed this video, despite the fact that, you know, it wasn't the best session that we had in the world. But yeah, if you wouldn't mind pressing that subscribe button, press the bell icon, and hopefully we'll see you guys in 2023.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? Ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Well, I cannot believe that it's been 5 years since the boys were last back. No, wait. Back together. Back together. Back together sounds weird, doesn't it? But yeah, for this particular week, autumn's truly. Shut up. But yeah, here we are. We've now got what? Autumn is well and truly underway now. We've missed the best of the weather, but you join us for this week on an incredible 300-year-old estate lake. We'll talk a little bit more in depth about the specifics here. So once we've got the mixes mixed up, no. So once, honestly, I'm not worried, it just sounds shit. Keep saying the same thing twice. So it's been a good couple of hours now since myself and Matt have returned from that beach finding mission. Good morning guys, so it is morning 2 now. And yeah, obviously you join me on the boat, obviously. Why do I say obviously? But yeah, obviously it's a little bit somber, this fuck's sake.
Well,
the sling's just in it.
it's only 13 pounds. Sorry, start that again. Stop shouting. Right, okay. Because of the weather. Can we get pictured for gram? I'm going to say to mid-afternoon on Wednesday, yeah. We haven't had much to act upon, so the position. I did start off on this. Yeah, to top off just to give it. Yeah, sound all right so far. I'm not putting any bait around it at all, hoping that a fish is just going to come past. And what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Fish will come past and just. Yeah, but there's another word for it. Yes, exactly.
That's alright. Super. The microphone's on the bait.
On auto or manual?
Don't know. Auto, I think.
You're on manual on the lens.
Oh, am I?
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I think more. So yeah, as per a customer to the Northern Carp Diaries channel, this is obviously a peak there. In terms of the website, it's pretty sparse at best. Sparse. Yeah, basically I'll start with the size of the lake, where we are, and obviously why. No, swims. It's a 5 or 4 swims. 4. They can get a little bit slutchy in the winter. No, don't need to go into that much detail. They're all barks, aren't they? Yeah. Now what? So unfortunately though, it's not caught me a fish at the moment. But that's been my nutty mix. Where do I go with that? How do I end it? Yeah. Put up the now.
Wait, sit down.
Am I sitting on this one?
You can sit on that one with your legs on there if you want to be taller.
Should we actually make it a bit of bounce, like
Yeah.
proper chill?
Okay, are we looking at the camera, yeah?
Yeah. Do you want me to start and then you just come in?
Go for it, yeah? Okay, so the 2 rigs I'm putting out tonight are, firstly, on 2 rods.
That sounded a bit too like Chris Tarrant. So the rigs I'm putting tonight
It won!
Yeah, boy!